So what's really not fun is living like a martyr as a mom. I have been there, I have done that, and I guarantee you by the end of this video, I'm gonna help you just maybe be more aware of if you ever fall into that slot. I know I certainly do all the time, but there's a real awareness that we can have that can honestly just help us click out of that martyr slot. And I promise to give you some real solutions to start living totally different, to be a more empowered and energized kind of mom that doesn't feel sorry for herself and doesn't feel like she just has to simply exist. We can do so much better. So what am I talking about with a martyr? Okay, here's a martyr mindset. A mindset of self-sacrifice. Caveat, I actually think self-sacrifice is a really beautiful part of motherhood. And it's just, I'm a Christian, and so that's a big part of my faith as well. But we're gonna put an asterisk there. We're gonna put a little pin. Let's keep going. It's a mindset of self-sacrifice, suffering or bearing an excessive burden, as if they're giving up everything for their family. And I think it's more of a mindset of like, this is my burden to bear, and that all of motherhood is suffering. And it's just like feeling a bit like a victim. A victim feels helpless and needs to be saved. And truthfully, this is just really tricky. I think especially in the Christian space where we have been taught self-sacrifice, and that self-sacrifice is very good and we need to take up our cross, and those are like things that are said in the church world. And I want to talk about how this can also have a toxic side, and how I don't think this is exactly what the Lord is talking about. Being a stay-at-home mom, being a working mom, being a homemaker, all these things, they're tricky. There is a unique kind of suffering. There is a unique kind of burden to bear. When we're possibly the only ones thinking about dinner, or we're the only ones that maybe get up with a baby during the night. There are unique things that we are uniquely carrying. I want to talk about all of that today, but I also want to talk about how being a mother and being a homemaker can be empowering, it can be meaningful, and it can ultimately be fun. Like, we can have a really good time being a mom. And I don't think enough women are talking about that. I think a lot of women are sometimes like checking out, or we're numbing out from the pain of motherhood, or we're feeling really sorry for ourselves. And like I said, we can do so much better. So hey, my name is Lana. This is Girl Teach Me. This whole channel is just to help a mom who probably feels a little overstimulated, who feels sleep deprived, feels overwhelmed, and just to help you as a mom to slip into this slot where you feel excited about motherhood, you feel energized, and you feel like a more peaceful mom, the kind of mom you've always wanted to be. That's why I created this channel. If that resonates with you, I hope you'll stay and hit subscribe. And this might seem a little like Lana off the wall, but I say it in a lot of my videos in case you're pregnant, because I'm talking to moms, right? I have a free birth class that helps you just figure out 5 key decisions that you need to make to really change your whole birth experience. I've had 5 natural births, and I'm just really thankful for that experience, but there's a lot I wish I had known the first, second, and even third time that I impart to you in this free class. So if you're pregnant, make sure you go check out that free class. So before I get started, tell me, have you felt like a martyr in motherhood? Have you felt like just like it's a significant heavy burden? It's a little bit of a drudge. You just feel like every moment feels like self-sacrifice. Have you felt like that? How did you get yourself out of that? I'd love to hear your thoughts down below. That's why I called this channel Girl Teach Me. It's not Lana Teach Me. I think we have a lot to learn from one another, so I want to hear your stuff down below. I had a midwife tell me this, and she just looked at me, and she had seen so many moms pregnant, so many moms postpartum, and she looked at me, Lana, and she said, if mama goes down, everybody goes down. And she was a mom of 7 herself, and she wasn't a feminist, she was just trying to say, hey, one of the most loving and kind things you can do as a mom. And she was just, really looking into my eyes. She had known me through several births. She was like, is to take care of yourself spiritually, physically, mentally, emotionally, to take care of ourselves. There are some things uniquely, right, that nobody else can do for us but ourselves. And she was like, that is loving and kind for our families. And that is helping our kids and helping our husband. And it really was something that I had to chew on for a little while, because I was thinking like self-care is selfish. But what she was saying was different. It was different than like, sorry, I have to go to a tanning appointment and a nail appointment, and I have to spend hours at the gym, and I'm dropping my kids off with other people so that I can do my self-care. This is not what she was saying. She was saying like, Lana, this might actually be the harder road. Like taking care of yourself might actually be the harder road, but it's the more loving road. So yes, self-sacrifice is totally a part of motherhood. In fact, I think it's maybe one of the most like, wow, like the jarring parts of motherhood is we can't just think about ourselves and our own needs all the time, and we have to continually kind of lay down our life and go against the flesh, so to speak. You know, it's hard getting up in the middle of the night. It's hard to give up some of the things we really enjoy because, you know, we need to be available for those we love. So let's dive deeper. I think the three main ways that I have personally felt like a martyr or accidentally stepped into that mindset and I've had to like rewind from it. The first is just accidentally believing feminist lies. You know, I really think I probably was walking in feminism when I was in college and high school because that's just like what culture tells us. And I was really thinking that fulfillment was out there and it wasn't in a home. I was thinking that, of course, if you can outsource dishes and laundry and cleaning and all the things, like why would you not outsource that? That's not very life-giving. That's not very important. But everything started to change once I had my first child, and also just watching older, wiser women being around really strong mentors and seeing them in their home, I started to see the value of hidden work and how the Lord does value hidden work. And I love this quote so very, very much. It says, "A woman raising her children is not only shaping the next generation, she is shaping little humans who are going to live forever. The souls she gave birth to are immortal." That quote is from Eve in Exile. I absolutely love that book by Rebecca Merkel. It is so, so good. And it's just such a reminder that motherhood is a privilege. There are so many women who want to have children, right? And to get a lot of women who actually would like to be homemakers. It really is a grand privilege to get to care for our children and care for our home. But I think the feminist lie is that our life is really only important if we're out there making our own money, if we're a CEO. But, you know, filing insurance papers, it could be, you know, meaningful work. But I'm not sure if I had to stack that against really pouring into my home, into my children. I really feel like one is going to yield more than the other, even if I get paid more to do one than the other. And it's just a different way to look at it, because I think, you know, our world says, is that education wasted on a woman if she's at home taking care of her children? I mean, I have a master's degree and I'm at home with 5 children, but I definitely feel like all the education I got, it has been helpful in some way or another. I think the only part that hasn't been helpful is all the feminist garbage that was shoved down my throat in university, that my life is really only meaningful if I'm out there on the hustle and grind and the boss babe life. So I think sometimes that can lead to a martyr mentality, because you're like, I've worked so hard to get here, to get to this career, and now I'm giving it all up to be a stay-at-home mom, or I'm giving it all up to take care for my baby. And does anybody know how much I had to give up? You know, I thought I wanted to be a head softball coach. And when I had my first child, I'm like, I don't know if I can do that, if I want to take a baby on the road. And also, I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom, which meant I needed to kind of help support my husband through school because he was going to physical therapy school. And there were times that I was like, does anybody know how much I gave up? Does anybody understand how big of a dream it was for me to be a head softball coach? But truthfully, if I could have had that, I didn't want that. And I think the Lord worked that last year as a coach. Kind of didn't want to, but kind of had to finish a commitment so I could see that what I thought I wanted is not what I wanted anymore. And sometimes I feel like women have to, you know, kind of do their job and be a mom to kind of see, like, I think I'd rather be with my kids than doing that job that once had a lot of meaning but doesn't hold the same meaning anymore, because you stack it up and you're like, I think I'd really rather be at home with my kids. I think the next one is just financial pressures. I think I've definitely felt this, right? I also have a video, I'm not sure if it's coming out right before this one or right after, but it talk about how we have 5 kids and we do 1 income. But there are sacrifices, right? There are things that we have to say no to. I mean, when I was single, I would buy a 10-pack yoga package and I would go get my hair done and I would go do all these things whenever I wanted to. And like, if I had to go without on eating out, that was fine. If I had to skimp on groceries, that was fine. But, you know, I could kind of do what I wanted to with my money. And I think sometimes we can feel like a martyr because we're like, I'm giving up so much, or like, I never have any money to buy myself clothes, or I never have any money for myself. But I think this isn't a blanket statement, but I have found that thinking that way almost always leaves no money for myself. But when I realized that if I just am a little more savvy on the grocery end, I can save a little bit to do something for myself. And maybe I can't buy myself all the things right now, but maybe if I save up, I can buy myself like one dress from New Flora or something. And so I had to stop thinking. It's almost like by thinking that I had no money for myself, I never had any money for myself. But by getting creative and thinking about it, like there is actually a possibility I could spend some money on myself. Maybe I have to sell some things around the house that I'm not using. Maybe I have to paint a dresser and sell it. Maybe I need to go a little easy on groceries, get a little more creative, batch cook, and save a little bit. Like once I started to realize, hey, there's something I can do about this, I totally changed the way I was thinking and undoubtedly found a little bit of money to, go to a Pilates class here and there, go get my hair done, get a little bit of makeup, buy myself a dress here and there, just something that kind of makes me feel a little bit better. But I don't know if that makes sense. Like I think sometimes we put limiting mindsets on ourselves and they keep us like trapped in this prison when we could just walk out of the door of the prison and we don't have to live like that anymore. Okay, and the one that I think probably takes the cake is just an overwhelm of responsibilities. Like it's so overwhelming to take care of the kids and to think about food and to grocery shop and to make all the food and then just like cleaning and laundry, all the responsibilities. That's probably made me feel like when I've done it without a joyful heart, but not seeing it as the valuable work that it is, that's where I've probably slipped into the greatest martyr mindset. And that makes me snippy with my husband. It makes me snippy with my kids. And I start to like talk in kind of like a self-pity way. When really what I realized is, what if I switched my thinking? What if I saw it as a really great challenge? What if I saw it as like a stretching, like a hard stretching of, okay, I'm gonna have to level up. I'm gonna have to get more creative in the kitchen, stretching meals. Okay, now I'm making meals for 5 kids. Okay, I can't just make like the same serving size. Like maybe if I made like a bulk and then froze some, or maybe, with laundry, I need to get savvier and I need to reduce the amount of clothes the kids have. And I need to make it more manageable. I need to create some better systems. Like I think systems make it so much easier. But when I was just feeling sorry for myself and just feeling like I had to pull all the weight myself, the other thing is I started empowering my kids to pull a little bit of the load too. So what I tell my kids is like, imagine there's a big like pallet of work, a big sled of work, and mama's just pulling the whole thing with one rope. I'm gonna pull it, but I'm gonna pull it really slow. And I'm probably not gonna have a lot of time left for fun things. Like you guys wanna go to the park and you wanna go to the children's museum and you wanna go do stuff, but like you want me to sit down and play games, but realistically, I have a lot of work to do. If you could grab a rope and you could grab a rope and you could grab a rope and you could all just pull a little bit, whatever you're capable of pulling. Of course, an 11-year-old can pull more than a 5-year-old, right? But we can all do something to contribute and to feel helpful and to build that confidence. And so we kind of just sat down together. I had like a big poster board and I asked each kid, what do you love to do around the house? What do you not mind doing? What would you be willing to do? Kind of like asked it in different ways. And I found out like one of my kids actually really loves to wash dishes. Another one really likes to vacuum. And it was like, okay, great. On Mondays, would you vacuum that front room? Okay, on Tuesdays, would you just like magic eraser the hall? On Wednesdays, and so the work kind of just like got parceled up, and we also made a list of like everything it's going to take to really run the house well. We kind of all divvied it out, and I'm really the main person that does laundry, but like my son takes it down to the washer and dryer for me. The other thing is I kind of got rid of dressers for a time and just did bins. I just trying to figure out creatively how to make it a little bit easier on myself and divvy up the work, so that, because when I was doing it all myself, I did feel sorry for myself because I didn't need to be doing it all by myself. I needed to empower my kids. I needed to be a coach and coach them. And yes, it's going to take longer to coach, but just getting started little by little, they are pulling a little bit of weight, and it is really, really helpful. Before I give you my very, very last point, and the thing that I think is the absolute most important, I want to ask you, tell me down below, what do you think has helped you the most click out of martyr mode? What other things did I not mention that sometimes can like just trip us up and get us in this bad mindset? I want to hear from you. How have you clicked out of it? How do you think about motherhood differently and in a more empowering way? All in all, the last thing I can say is, honestly, what's harder than just continually laying our lives down, continually feeling like we're just carrying a heavy burden, is to build good habits. Honestly, I think this is the harder thing. This is that motherhood is perhaps calling us higher. That stepping from maiden to mother is gonna help, we're gonna have to continually level up. Especially the more kids we have, we're gonna have to get more and more and more intentional. But the good news is we're becoming a better version of ourselves. And so I think if we can just switch the way we're thinking, like, oh, this is also painful and this is also hard, and like I feel sorry for myself and I just need to numb out and I just need a minute, to just like, okay, this is really hard, but this is a working pain, not a hurting pain. The Lord is not trying to hurt me. He has good plans for those who love him. He is working like something new in me, and he's helping me level up and become the mom that I'm meant to be. And that means, yes, I'm gonna have to self-sacrifice, but also I'm gonna have to do some hard disciplines of learning to move my body, get in the word, stay as connected to the vine as possible, journal, get my thoughts out, think on paper sometimes because my head feels so cluttered. I'm gonna have to put that load of laundry in early and try to work it to completion by the end of the day. I'm gonna have to start breakfast or start dinner perhaps after breakfast so I can make sure that I know what the plan is for supper. Like, these good habits honestly sometimes are the most self-sacrificial, beautiful thing we can do because we're doing them on the behalf of others. Taking our supplements, putting on real clothes, and making sure we have a couple of pieces, even from a thrift store, that we feel good in, that we reach for, we know they fit. These are things that take time and they take discipline. And I think personally, working on some good self-discipline habits that nobody else can do for us but ourselves, and making the time for those things, yes, they're life-giving. It might feel a little bit selfish while we're doing them, but if we're doing them for the heart of like, I want to build my home, a wise woman builds her house, but a foolish one tears it down with her hands. If we're doing it because we want to build our house, we want to love our kids well because they see us feeling good about ourselves, we've moved our body, we've put on real clothes, we've done our hair, they don't need to see us just feeling really bad about ourselves all the time and talking bad about ourselves. And so I think that's the most empowering thing we can do, to step out of that martyr mode and step into that, just like, honestly, just a mom that's having fun and enjoying motherhood because she sees it as a grand challenge. She knows it's helping her level up, and she knows ultimately that it's really, really important, valuable work. The Lord has, called the Great Commission to go and make disciples, and yet he's given half the population the charge to have their heart centered on a home. Maybe their feet are not always home, but their heart is doing good work for their home. Like, it's important work, and I think that transforms so much of motherhood. If you want another video to help you out on this motherhood journey, I have so many. One video that might be interesting to you is what is actually, in my opinion, the hardest number of kids. That might be a fascinating video for you. It might not be the number that you're thinking of. I'm sending so much love your way, and I'll see you again in the next video.
It's so unnecessary dwelling about the past, 'cause I know that God is good, he led me to where I'm at. Sometimes I feel like giving up, you're giving in, but everything happens for a reason. It won't always be blue skies ahead. Sometimes you might need a helping hand, just like I am. Sharpens iron, making me stronger, calling me higher. When we come together, just like I am. Sharpens iron, making us stronger, calling us higher. When we're helping each other, we're growing together.